Hello everyone and welcome back to Crafters TV. Well, it's our penultimate, yeah that's right, Craft Your Stash show today, and this is super exciting. I know a lot of you are very excited about this because it's all about our foil press. So I've just seen who's here. Oh wow, we've got everyone here, right. Oh, we've got lots of you in already. Taking a minute for the WhatsApp to open on here. There's loads of you in. So you're obviously here because our Craig, we'll go say hello to him in 1 minute, is here to do a show all about the foil press. So if you've got any questions about the foil press, it's all comments so far, any questions, anything that's not quite working for you, anything like that, then this is your chance to come on, ask those questions, or just we can iron out those little niggles and we can get it all working for you. So, Craig, good afternoon. Are we refreshed and raring to go from the 2 hours?
I think I'm too refreshed now.
You're too refreshed?
Whew, those couple of hours, believe you me, it takes out of you. Doing nothing, doing nothing. Although I say doing nothing, I did do a fair bit of painting to help Nicola. Nicola's been doing a little bit of painting for the sets and that out there, so I was giving her a little bit of a hand and had my lunch and that. But yeah, it's getting the energy back up.
You did a lot of painting, did you?
I done a lot of painting. A lot
That's what I heard.
Of painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More filming than painting.
Yeah.
But yes, it's going to be a good couple of hours. We're going to just go through lots of different techniques when it comes to the foil press. What I would say is when it comes to this Craft Your Stash with the foil press, I'm going to cover a lot of different techniques. So we're going to do things such as, using your normal wafer thin dies. We're going to be using the stamps that come with outline dies, so you can foil the outline die, stamp into the middle. We're going to do waste techniques. We're going to foil, of course, die cuts. We're going to use some of Shayna's brand new collection as well that we can then foil and then stamp into. We'll do some embossing because you can use the foil press, stamp and cut dies as a way to emboss. So you might not necessarily see all these fancy materials such as leathers and vellums and all that sort of stuff. These sorts of ones you'll always be able to find back across on our YouTube channel. This 2 hours is just giving you all the different techniques that you can then cover with what you'll predominantly have at home. You might not have the same kind of like, I don't know, create a card die as I have, but you'll be able to use your create a card die at home using your foil press. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be really good fun. So yes, it's all about Craft Your Stash and it's all about the foil press. So let's see. Now I might have to go onto my phone because it's not loading the messages on here. So I've got Alicia Gordon in. Oh, it's Victoria still on the comments this show. I don't know who we've got on the next show, but it's Victoria again this one. We've got Alicia Gordon says, good, beautiful morning and greetings from Arkansas. I haven't used my foil press in a long time now that I have the Gemini 2. Time for a refreshing course. Well, it works perfectly with your Gemini 2, so brilliant. Marianne Rosie says, morning all. Diane Kreuter says, morning all you lovelies from a chilly North Carolina. Sweet Lady 1027 says, good morning everyone from New York. Lois says, good morning everyone from Ohio. Jamie Alex says, good morning from Central Texas. It's 65 and loving it. Is that because it's cooling down or because it's the right temperature? Half a story there. I'm wondering why are you loving it? Alicia Gordon says, Arkansas is Arkansensational. Yes, Arkansensational. It's fall is in the air. There we go. Clarice says, happy Saturday all from South Carolina. Sarah Brown says, hi again, Corrine and Craig, popping in for a while before I go to sleep here in Melbourne, Australia. It's 1 a.m. now. Okay, right, I'll have to move over because that's not loading any more messages. Kim Luss says, good morning from Dallas. Cat Butt says, hi everyone from a wet Montrose. Oops. She's really excited about something. Really excited for this. We all are. Lynn Bledsoe's hello from Indiana. There's a lot of you in. There are so many people in. Polly Newsom's in from the Midlands TX. That's Texas, I think. Lynn Blackledge is good morning, excited for the show. Phil Watson's in, good afternoon all. Stacey Brown, good morning. Oh, apparently it's Grace on our next show. Jane Adams, good morning everyone from Las Vegas. Mary Beth Doyle says, hi everyone, I need to really watch this show. I don't use the foil press like I should. Well, hopefully this is going to give you a little bit of a budge, and that feeling of, reinvigorating, that's the word I was looking for. Stephanie Theodos is in from Farmingdale, New Jersey. So excited for the show. Stamp in hand says hello to all the crafty friends. And Lynn Morton from Newcastle. Afternoon crafters, she says. Mary Shaw is looking forward to more on the foil press from Craig. Aren't we all? Sherry Miller says, good morning from beautiful Oregon. My foil press is still in the box, hoping this will give me the confidence to get it out and have a go, says Laura Tremler. Why do you need the confidence? Because I think Craig's going to show you it really is simple. If it goes wrong the first couple of times, it's just a couple of little bits of paper. So please give it a go. Sandra Gilchase says good morning from Pennsylvania. Pauline Pitts is in Lincolnshire. She says it's quite warm. It is, I popped out. Diane Pullin says good afternoon everyone from sunny Surrey. Paw Print times 4 is in from sunny South Carolina. Sweet Lady says good morning Corrine and Craig. Andrea says I have had my foil press for over a year, never used it. I have it out and ready to use along with Craig. Yeah, this could be your craft along for the foil press. And finally, before we have a break, or move on rather, Alison Maylee says hello from Brooklyn, New York. My foil press is still in the box. Oh, right, get it out of the box. Craig's going to show you how to use it, and it really isn't as scary as some of you might fear. Craig.
It's not. It's not. It's just, as you said, it's just about that confidence. At the end of the day, if something goes wrong, what's the worst that can happen? Pop it in the recycling. If you do make a foiled mistake onto a piece of cardstock, you can still pop it into the recycling if you feel as though you can't use it. What we're going to do is we're going to start off just with a couple of items. It's a good thing to show, actually, which happens to be on the website, should you want to have a little peruse. And we're going to have a look at the alphabet numbers. Now, we've not got all of them left in stock, but these are one that I get asked quite a lot when it comes to these, because these are your letters. Now, when it comes to the letters, you've got a really, funky shape towards the bottom, or depending where on the letter. And that is because you've got a coordinated stamp to go with it. You're going to foil, and then you're going to stamp, and you're going to position that stamp so it's kind of like curving and twisting around your letter. Now, when it comes to the foil press, and I'm purposely starting with this before we talk through kind of like the matrix and that just shortly, what we're going to do is we're just going to get our foil ready to go. So when it comes to anything paper craft and beyond, most of the time, you are going to be using your paper craft foil. Now, we do have, or we did do, a multi-surface foil, which I very rarely use that. The paper craft foil, that we'll go over the foils just shortly, I predominantly use the paper craft foil for everything. Card, paper, acetate, vellum, all these sorts of mediums. But for something like this, it's all to do with the size. Again, we'll talk you through the matrix just shortly when it comes to sizes, etc, etc. But I know for this, when it comes to the foil press stamp, and we'll call them stab, sometimes we'll say die, but that's just a slip of the tongue, because they do look like a die. But instead of being a raised cutting edge, they've got a raised solid edge. So that is then the platform that's kind of impressed into your cardstock with your foil. Now, you'll notice, of course, it is back to front. That's because when you foil it, peel away the foil, it will be the right way. So what we're going to do when it comes to this one here, I've got my power all good to go. I've got it on low, 3 settings, we'll talk you through just shortly. You've got minutes, you've got seconds, you've got reset, and you've got start as well. Now, for something like this, if you were to refer to the matrix, it will come back to what I know for this. When it comes to cardstock anyway, I'm only going to need about 10 seconds. So the key thing with all foiling is you have everything ready to go. I'm on green, which means I'm good to go. I've got my foil press stamp, I've got my foil, and when it comes to the foil, you're always going to go shiny side down. And then I've got my cardstock as well. I've got a piece of white multi-purpose because I'm going to stamp onto it afterwards. So for something like this, I'm just going to go. Now, the matrix, for something small, it does say 10 seconds. I'm going to come down to 8 seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pop that on. We're going to press start. And then I'm just going to then pop my carbon plate over the top. I like to put that on because it's just retaining the heat. That's then giving me the right amount of time when it comes to that heat plate. Now, this heat plate on low, it stays that same temperature no matter what. It's the time on your heat plate. It differs depending on what you're foiling. So I've put my cardstock on, my carbon plate, and then we're just going to slide out. Now, I'm using the G2, which means because it's an optical sensor, I can just go straight on. If you're using your Junior, then of course it will go straight on. If you're using your A4 OG Gemini, you will need an extender plate. But just to clarify, you don't need an extender plate for your G2. You can use the carbon plate that you get within the bundle. What we're then going to do is we're just going to lift that up, and then what we've got is we've then got our R impression. Now, it will leave that gap there. That's on purpose because it's got a stamp to go with it. What we would usually say as well is when you're finished using it, switch it off and pop it to the side. If you leave the heat running over and over again when you're not using it, it can have a tendency over time of starting to buckle. Now, I'm not going to bend my plate up, but it will slowly over time start to bend and buckle. And that's the heat constantly running round when it's not being used. So when you're not using it, make sure that you switch it off. I'm just going to then pop it to the side for now. What I'm then going to do is I'm just going to bring back in my Foilpress stamp here. We're going to come in, I'm going to bring in my platform, because this is absolutely, definitely the thing that you want to use when it comes to lining these up. You can do it with a smaller platform, but your larger one is definitely going to be the one that's going to be a godsend. And then you're just going to take the stamp to go with it. Now, what I will advise is just follow the packaging. Follow the packaging when it comes to the stamp, because what you have got is you've got this floral design towards the bottom that fits in that design within the foiled letter. What you've also got is you've kind of got a panel or a chamber being blocked off that takes into account the left-hand side of that R. So then therefore you'll get that floral impression left and right. So I'm just having a look. I can see that indent with the petal follows that indent of the R. But once again, you can then follow the design on your packaging, and then you're just going to work that in. And then by using my large stamping platform with the magnetic discs, I know that when it comes to positioning stamping, I'm in the correct place every single time. So we're just going to come back in, we're just going to layer that up, bring that into position, move it in, hold it slightly, and then bringing in our stamping platform. So I now know they're both in exactly the right place that they need to be. That's why the 8x8 one for something like this really is going to be a helping hand. And hopefully this is going to help many of you, because I know this is one of the questions I get asked a lot, and that is with our alphabets that has the stamps to go with them. And then we're right in that accurate place, so what we can do is we can then just press that in, hold, release, and we've now got that gorgeous curvature of the floral. So if it's gone from behind the R, it's brought its way round, and then it's coming in the front of the R. And that's the same concept that you run for whatever letter or whatever number. You can then come along, of course, if you've got your tri-blends, your alcohol pens, you can then come along and colour with them. But you can also foil on your watercolour card. So if you want to do it onto your watercolour card, and then you can come and do all your watercolours. Can you imagine a certain paint palette that may be launching very, very soon? It's got some shimmer in it. Can you imagine coming along and doing that with it?
They look amazing, those do.
They would look absolutely fab in conjunction with the foiling. But of course, you can then just come along. I'm not going to colour the whole lot, but then you can come along and then take maybe like your nesting dies, go in with a circle, square, whatever shape that you want, die cut it out, and then that can be someone's initial. Or of course, what you can do is if you're wanting to do a 2 or a 3 initial, you can just line them up on your foil press and then foil and stamp them all at once, or you can do them in sections. So it's just following the curvature of the letter when it comes to the foil press stamp. So I really wanted to start off with that one, Corrine, because as I said, it's something that I get asked quite a lot, because you can never always quite work out the right place and where you're going to be stamping it, or how to figure out where the right place is stamping. And it's just having a look, just take a moment, hover, position, and then just look at the packaging as well. Look at the packaging, look at the flow, the stamp itself, where it's got like a blank panel as to what's going to overlay a certain part of the letter. You're just following that with your eyes, and then just popping it into place. Let's move that all out the way for now. I'll go over the actual foil press. To anyone that's got it and it's still in the box or just needs a recap all about our foil press, and that is it puts foiling, full control in your hands at home. So if it's going to fit on your 5x7 platform that we've got here. Now when it comes to this one here, we have got so much in the actual box as well that it tells you all about the foil press box on the foil press box. But when it comes to this is, as I said, it's about putting foil in your hands at home. Now we have done things such as foil press stamps, and we've still got a small amount you can always check out. This is a dark grey one, so this does the foiling and the cutting at the same time. I'll show you that just shortly. But when it comes to things such as your wafer thin dies, so all of your wafer thin dies, you can now foil with these as well. Now what happens is, of course, they don't cut, but all of that detail, the tip of that detail within all of these dies, that will all foil. So you get the most intricate detail when it comes to the foiling. But then what you can then do is then you can bring in things such as, and we're going to do all of this, you can do things such as your stamping dies. So you can foil that outline and then you can stamp into the middle. Oh. So the die won't cut, but what it'll do, it'll give you a lovely foiled outline depending on what colour you use. We're going to do that later on. Can you imagine doing that with Sheena's? I borrowed a set of Sheena's, so can you imagine foiling that outer snowflake design and then stamping into the middle? Beautiful. So easy when it comes to that. But then what you can start to do as well is things such as these, and not necessarily just these, even our silver foil press stamps, you can start to emboss with them with even like black card and go over when it comes to things such as your Gilding wax. All these we're going to cover. You'll be able to go back on YouTube after today and watch this one and all the previous ones that I've done. But with the foil press, what you have got is you do have two power buttons. You've got the main switch at the side, and then you've got your power button on the front. So you just make sure that they're both switched on, switch it on, and then at first, the light will go red. That just means that it's heating up. I've had mine already started, so therefore it's on green. Now, in all the years I've used a foil press, I've only ever used low. I've never used medium and I've never used the high. And that's because when it comes to the medium and the high, that's going to be for things such as like real leathers that you maybe want to foil with, which I never do. So therefore,
is that to do with the density?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's about needing that strong impact of heat when it comes to said material. So I only ever use the low, and that's card, paper, acetate, vellum, glitter card, Centura Pearl, Adorable Scoreable, all of these different cardstocks in mediums. But no matter what you are foiling, whether it is something small like that, large and delicate like that, or subtle like that, the temperature stays exactly the same. The temperature does not change. What changes is the time. So that will need seconds compared to something like that. Yes. And even then, believe it or not, that won't need long at all because you're not actually needing to heat up the whole die, you're only needing to heat up the tip. So it's not actually going to take that long. But you get that idea. The smaller the foil press stamp, the shorter the time. The larger the foil press stamp, the longer the time. And that's all dictated by the matrix. What I would always say is start off with the matrix, and then it is the case of you get to know your machine. You get to know your machine when it comes to the foil press. So when it comes to the foil press, it comes to your small, your medium, and your die, your large one. So you've got your small, your medium, and your large that we can just see here. What we've then got as well is cardstocks, pearlescent card, vellum, mirror, acetate, PU leather, fabrics, cotton, satin. These are just some of the mediums that you can foil. You can foil so much more, so much more. These are just a basis to start with.
You can foil onto acetate, because I think it would just crumple.
Nope. Now, not only can you foil it onto heat-proof acetate, you can foil onto packaged heavyweight acetate as well. Now, your heavyweight construction acetate, it will bend and buckle, but if you're securing it with red liner tape or a strong adhesive, you can foil with it, no problem whatsoever. But what the matrix tells you as well, so is you'll just be able to see all of these for a small, a medium and a large, it all says low, which I've talked you through. I keep it on low all the time. But what it'll tell you then is, for instance, a small foil press stamp, if you're doing 300 GSM cardstock, gives you that indication of 10 seconds. So do it for 10 seconds to start with. You might find that you need a couple of less seconds, a couple of more seconds. If that's the case, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong. It could just be to do with the condition of your craft room. It could be roasting hot. It could be freezing cold. You've maybe just brought it out and this is cold and you're heating it from cold, or you've been using it throughout the day. So therefore, that running temperature is running quite strong the whole time. So have a play. Start with the guide within the matrix, and then if you need to then adapt it, you can do that.
Craig, sorry, and just while you're there, because it's just really relevant. So you said, start with this, you might need to adjust. Robbie asked the question, hello from Alabama. I've used my foil press only a very little. Have a ton of foils. I have a question for Craig. What am I doing wrong when the image doesn't foil completely? Is it too hot or not hot enough, or what? Or is she not leaving it too long? So when you said adjust, how do I know that I need less, or how do I know that I need more?
Yeah.
Sorry,
no, that's okay. That's exactly what I was just moving on to at that point there, just to say that, you know, when I say that you can add or you can remove a few seconds, if you've foiled an image, and I'm hoping it's going to happen throughout today, if you've got any of the image that is missing, that then means it's been underfoiled. So therefore, it's not been on the heat long enough. So just add on a few seconds. Right. If you got, because you'll have seen how, I've got that little bit of waste here. I'll show you how to use the waste later on. So that is waste there. If any of that excess foil had transferred onto the background, that's what's classed as overfoiling.
Overfoiling,
so then that then means it's been on the heat too long. So therefore, reduce it for a few seconds. So just reduce it. So if it's missing elements of foiling, add a few seconds. If it's got too much foiling, so if it's foiled where you don't want it to be, then that is when you just need to reduce it for a few seconds.
Brilliant. Right, so she's saying it doesn't foil completely. That means she's not quite got it on long enough. On
long enough. No, she needs to add it on just for a few seconds. And when I say a few seconds, it can quite literally just be 2 seconds. Yeah. Maybe 3, might be 1. But have that little bit of a play. Do what I do as well. Not that I've ever had to use it for a long time, because it's all ingrained in my head. But if you've got yourself a little notebook, so when it comes to certain cardstocks, if you find a right temperature time, jot it down. So if you find a small foil press stamp on white multi-purpose works better for 8 seconds, leave yourself a note. Leave yourself a note, a little guide, so that you can go back to. Because this is just a beginner's. This is what we obviously recommend when it comes to tried and testing it hundreds of times, but things can change. It could be the pressure of your Gemini, the original against the OG. Although the pressure stays the same, we know that can vary ever so slightly. So I would always recommend start with the matrix, and then if you need to adapt it by a few seconds, you can absolutely do that. But then let's take one of our deep grey ones. So this is a deep grey one, which this lets us know that it then foils and cuts at the same time. It lets me know that because it says it's a papercraft foil stamp and cut die, and it's got a little picture of a blade. We know by now dies aren't sharp. It's not a blade that's going to cut into your hands. When it comes to these ones, what you've also got is you've got your foil and stamp and cut brackets here. So that is for all your silver foil press stamps. That is for your stamp and cut, which is your grey one. Same idea, it gives you a list of just some of the mediums that you can foil and cut, the sizing, and then the low as well as the times. When it comes to knowing, well, how do I know if it's small, medium or large? What we tend to say is when it comes to your actual platform, if it fills about a third of the platform, class that as a small foil press stamp. If it covers maybe about 2/3, then we tend to say that's about a medium. And then if it's a large one, then we tend to say, of course, that's going to be the large die. But when it comes to your actual foil and cut, what you will need to do different, you get a metal shim in the bundle. So if you've got your foil press, you'll have got this metal shim. This is completely different to our Gemini Junior or Gemini metal shim.
Oh, they look different, don't they?
Yeah, and they're different to the ones that Becky uses for the soft craft. This is one that's specifically for the foil press, but it comes within the bundle. For these, what you will need though is a metal shim. So whether it's the junior one or whether it's the A4 one, either one will work. Just make sure it's not one of the fabric plates that Becky uses. It needs to be one for the paper craft for your Gemini. So that's the only extra that you will need. But then of course, if you've gone for a foil press, that means you've got a Gemini, because you can't use the foil press with any other machine, only a Gemini. So therefore, you're going to have that. So it's not as if you're going to be left in limbo, not having a metal shim. You're going to have one anyway. So what we're going to do within this one here, I'm going to go with the matrix for this one, just so that we can show you. This one, I would say roughly, I'm going to go for a medium for this one. Tells me medium, 45 seconds, and I'm just going to do it onto black cardstock. I've got my black cardstock. I've then got my foil press stamp and die. I'm going to use the gold again for this one, because the gold on the black really does showcase it off. And when it comes to potential overfoiling, a thing to do to eliminate that as well is make sure your foil is cut as close to the size as you need. Don't worry about it being messy around the edges. That won't transfer onto your card or your paper. And you can use these little bits up. You can then create a funky background later on by just placing them when I show you the waste technique. So let's take that out of the way. So we're going to go in to, of course, our timer here. So I don't need to worry about the minutes. Remember, always stays the same heat. So I'm just going to press, and I'm just going to go all the way up to 45 seconds. What I can then do is when I move on to the next one, say for instance it's 15 seconds, of course I can either come down or just hit reset. Takes me right back to 0, and then of course I can go to my new settings. But let's just go back up to 45. So we're going to go up to 45 here. So we're going to go in, so we've got our timer is ready to go. We're still on green, which means we're ready to go. I've got my foil press plate. I've then got my metal plate from my foil press. So I'm going to go with my foil press stamp and cut, and I'm then going to come along with my carbon plate, and I'm going to press start. That's going to do the countdown to it, the 45 seconds. I've got my card ready. I've got my metal shim. Because this is a die, we need something metal to cut into. Yeah. If I then cut straight into this, now this design here, this is where in the past I forgot to put my metal shim in and it's cut in there. If you do that, and you will do it, you'll foil onto it, you'll cut into it by mistake, don't worry, it's still usable. You can see mine, you know, I've done it umpteen times. It's just to get longevity out of your carbon plate, and it's a carbon plate, so it'll last you a long, long time. I've got 2 spare, and I've never had to replace this one yet. This is still my original one, because it doesn't bend or buckle.
We all do it, don't we? I was doing some stamping and masking up part of the stamp with a bit of masking tape. So I was like, oh yeah, brilliant. Inked it, and forgot to take the masking tape off. So all I did was ink to the masking tape onto. I was like, why did you do that?
I know, we'll all do it. We'll all do it. So I've put my foil shiny side down. So shiny side down. I'm going in with my cardstock. I'm going to go in with my metal shim and then my carbon plate. So we're cutting into it. So we're going to slide out. Never bend it up, slide it out. Because if you bend it up, you're then going to potentially snap the actual connectors, the heat connectors. And then with our G2, all that we're just going to do is we're just going to feed it up. I always keep a grip of it and feed it in until it's taken its way. But of course, you can just let it go. And then we're just going to then remove this. We can see there that it's cut. We've got a lovely aperture. we've got an inner cup. You'll also find within your foil press bundle, if you've not opened it, you've got heat protectors. Now, this doesn't get overly hot. It's not hot enough that I can't touch it and move it and lift it. If you are a little bit heat sensitive, you do get things such as your precision tweezers that are magnetic. You've got your finger grips, all of that, that's then going to be nice and protective. You get a non-slick slip mat as well. I'll bring mine out just shortly to show you, but I never use them.
That looks pretty just like that, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It really does. But then, if we take a grab of that, and then...
I mean, wow,
look
wow,
at
wow. That
how fab's that?
is beautiful.
So a little sentiment in there. You know, if you can imagine, let's just bring in what I made earlier. Oh no, it's on you. What's on your side, Corrine? It was that stamped sentiment within the, it was demo of the show within the last show. But can you imagine a little sentiment stamped in there, maybe a few little gems or that, or of course that could go over a cello bag, maybe little treats in there, do another one to elongate it, or just a topper, whatever you want. And of course that can be beautifully foiled onto the black cardstock. But what I want to show, before we take a little break on my side, all of this, never ever worry about all of that being waste. That's never ever waste. You're going to be able to use that. And for this, what you need to do is, I'm just going to go reset. And for this, I'm going to go right up to 1 minute, 10 seconds.
Okay.
This is where what you will also need is your magnetic shim from your Gemini. Again, it doesn't matter whether it's the junior or the large Gemini. Obviously, if you're using the junior, then you'll need a junior. You can't fit your A4 magnetic shim in. So you know what I mean by that. But either one will work. So you will need that. What I do, both my magnetic and my metal shim, I have one each for just my foil press.
Yes.
Please don't think you have to invest in another one. You can do your foiling, then do your die cutting, foil and die cutting. You can use them for both. I just found it easier having these two for foiling, and then I've got my own other two sets for die cutting. So when it comes to the waste technique, we're going to need our metal shim. What we'll also need is we'll need 2 shims of cardstock. I use our white multi-purpose because you want them to be about 300 GSM each. So that's given me 600 GSM. And this is going to be not only the time on the foil press platform, Corrine, it's going to be about that pressure.
Yes.
You want so much pressure to really push that foil into the card.
Well, you've not got the metal stamp, have
exactly,
you? So you've got to build up the thickness of what would have been the metal.
100%. You need something to build that up. And that's what the shims are doing. So let's take a piece of cardstock. So this is actually, no, let's do black because the black will really show it off once again. Now this is the only technique where you layer everything together and then press start.
Okay.
Notice beforehand, the last twice, what I done was I let my heat build up within my stamp, done the countdown, then built my layers and put it through. Not this one. What we're going to do is you're going to take your waste and we're going to go again, shiny side down. So it's shiny side down. You're then going to take the cardstock you want to foil that onto, which is going to be our black card. We're going to pop our 2 shims of 300 GSM over the top. We're going to go in with our magnetic, and then we're going to come in with our carbon plate. So what we're going to do is we're just going to align that, and we're going to do start. So as I said before, that's going to give us that right amount of time for that heat to circulate through the platform, through that foil, and it's the heat activated foil. It's working its way up into your cardstock, but as it's building up all the way up, it's bouncing off the carbon plates, going back down. So we're keeping that heat going against the time, and then that pressure of the Gemini. Because this combination, you will notice, and you'll see it in a moment, the Gemini at first, it's like, oh, do I like that? It will take it, but you will hear that distinctive change then if you're just running through a normal die, because that's a substantial amount of thickness that we've got. But all you need to do is do the countdown. When you have used it, say you forget to switch it off, or the phone goes, or the postie comes, or anything like that, then it will shut off itself after around about 25 minutes. So if you are away for the day and you think, oh my gosh, I've left that heat on, don't worry, it will shut itself off. So you've got that safety feature as well. But as you can see, it's just coming down to the last few seconds here. So we've got our positive that we've done here. And then when it counts down, we're just going to slide out. We're going to slide that out. We're going to feed that up. And then this is where, see, you can hear it. It's just like, it's pushing, it's going, it's doing it no problem.
It just slows down a little bit.
It slows down a little bit, yeah. So then that's now the combination of the pressure. And then we're just going to take all of these off. Now you can reuse these shims a good number of times, so it's not as if it's a one-time use. And already my whole backing has come off.
Wow.
Look at that, not a piece of waste left there.
Wow.
What we have got is that incredible negative, what would have been waste, that I'd come in rectangle nest and die, oval nest and die, or just with your
cut out the
guillotine.
centre.
Exactly, yeah. Little shaker in there if you want it to be, anything like that. So from one foil press cut and stamp, what you have got is you've then got the positive, you've got the negative, and just to say, you can do that with your silver stamps as well, they just don't cut out.
Yes.
So any of the waste you've got from the silver foil press stamps, you can do that waste technique as well. So that is just a couple of the key basic ones when it comes to the foil press. Your original foil press stamps, the foil and cut, and of course I showed you that stamp. And then, like I say, the next part of what's remaining of this show, I know we've just started, although where's that 35 minutes gone? We'll show you foiling with the stamps, we'll do a little bit heat embossing, we'll do a number of different things, including normal dies, and then also foiling your die cuts as well, because you can do that too.
Brilliant. Right, Craig, can we have 5 minutes going through some questions?
Of course you can.
Because they've been coming in thick and fast, but I didn't want to interrupt.
No problem.
First of all, Linda Vasquez says, good morning. Yeah, foil press, can't wait for your tips. Alison, where's your purple foil press shirt, Craig?
It might, it's not that I'm refusing to wear it, it might be getting left for a special night one night this week.
There we go. There we go.
Hashtag
Keeping it clean.
Monday.
Hashtag not very long to go. Yeah, okay, right, okay.
I didn't want to overuse it this weekend.
You've
I was
got to get
determined, I wanted to wear it, but Nicola was like, no, Craig,
Save
wait
it for
till Monday.
She's disputing this. Laurie Barnett says, hello friends, watching from Gilbert, Arizona. Haven't been on for a few weeks, I've missed you. Oh, we've missed you too, Laurie. Welcome back. Tess, hello lovelies. I love using my foil press and love Craig's demonstrations. There we are, couldn't ask for more. Cynthia Wood, had my foil press for 6 months, unpacked it this morning just for this show. Well, I hope you've used it. I hope you're foiling along with Craig, Cynthia. Brilliant. Linda Vasquez says, I've got a lot of multi-purpose foil in a bundle. Can I use these for foiling on paper?
You can. I try not to, because what you need to do is you really need to ramp up the time. It's to do with the manufacturing of the foil, and because it's to go onto a different medium, a real medium, a leather, as I say. So for it to work onto cardstock, which can be done, but you really need to increase the time, sometimes almost by double, and sometimes you might have to put in an extra few shims as well. So when I say I'd recommend not to, it's not because it's going to damage it or it's going to affect anything like that. It's just you really need to double that time, and you really need to ramp up that pressure as well. So it can be done, but I try and keep my multi-surface foil for real leather, which to be honest, I've never really done. And then I do paper crafting for pretty much most of everything else.
Okay.
So yes, it can be done.
It can be done. Perfect, thank you. Robbie Hedrick says, definitely keeping the show. Absolutely brilliantly. Cindy Funk says, question, could you use the foil press stamps to emboss like Debbie showed the other day when she used a die cut?
I'm going to show that just next.
Okay, there we go. Keep watching. Right. I'm going to read what's here. I think we've had an autocorrect on our text.
Okay.
It says, my hearing part has cracked using the extender panel to go through my Gemini. What have I done wrong? I don't think she means hearing part. Heating part.
Heating part.
Heating. Well done, Nicola. I've been looking at that all the time. I think my heating part has cracked using the extender panel to go through my Gemini. What have I done wrong?
So, it's one. Can I say this, or am I going to get into trouble if I say this? I've never been a big fan of the extender plate.
Right.
Because you really do have to try and get it face on. So let's do it. Let's do it. I'm not going to put anything through because, tell you what, because the difficulties within the OG. And again, it's not the foil press, it's not the Gemini, it's just to do with the positioning.
Is it trying to bring two different components and making them work, isn't it, really?
It is, it is. What you need to keep in mind, the reason it's a lot better with the G2 is because it's an optical sensor now, so you don't have to worry about the two sensors at the side. That's where it was catching some people out, because if you get it in at a wrong angle, then the edges of the extender plate could get caught into the little like chamber, the panel inside, and then as that's hitting up, if that goes in at ever so slight of a wrong angle, the Gemini is trying to pull through your platform, but then that's jarring up against, and then when it twists, it can snap the top part. Very, very rare that it's happened, but it does happen. But when it comes to the extender plate, so let's say you've got the extender plate, you've got the OG Gemini, and that's what you need to be using. So you'll have seen I used the A4 plate, so that comes with it, the A5 one, sorry. So that comes with it. Now you only need this if you've got the OG Gemini. You don't need it for the Gemini 2 because it's an optical sensor, so you can use the A5 one.
Or the Junior. The Junior, you use the small plate.
That's right, yeah, that's right. But when it comes to your larger machine, you only need the extender plate for the white OG Gemini. So do your foil and do your countdown, and then what you're wanting to do is you want to really try and get it face on. So you want to try and make sure that you've got the same width at each side here. So I know that James is coming in, which is going to be a massive help, so thank you, James. He's coming in just right there. So that you can see that I've kind of got the same width at each side there. If you go further into the side there, there's a chance that this side could clip into the rollers right at the back there. So if you try and keep it side by side and keep it face on, so keep it face on, so then as it comes out, it's going to come out relatively straight, and that's going to avoid any catching at the side. So if you are using the extender plate with the OG Gemini, with that extender plate, try and make sure that you're going face on, but you've got the same width at each side there, just so that you know it's going to go in straight, it's not going to catch, but again, you're not going to have that issue with the G2. Okay,
I hope that helps, Anne. I think from what we've read, I think that's the best answer we can give you. So there we go, hopefully. Hannah Gosling-Smith says, is heat-resist acetate a better idea for foiling? From what I heard Craig say, if you want it to be flat and not buckle, I would say yes. But Craig, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. And when it comes to heat-based, anything that is heat-based purpose is the best one for the job. So heat-proof acetate is the best. It's just good to know that if you've got any of our older packaging, of course, we're being a lot more environmentally friendly now with our packaging, but if you've got any of our packaging with a lot of plastic, you can foil onto that now. As Corrine was saying, as I said beforehand, if you use your heavy acetate, it will bend and buckle, but it doesn't mean that you can't use it. It's just about hiding your adhesive.
Perfect. Peggy Brown says, this has been a great week. I love the Craft Your Stash. Robbie, oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. Obviously what Craig was doing a few minutes ago. Joe Holter says, my foil press hasn't been used for a long time. Thanks for the inspiration to get it out again. Absolutely brilliant. Dolly Dimple, question. When I foil the waste, I always get the grid marks from the plate press through onto the foil image. How can I stop that from happening? Too much pressure? That almost sounds like too much.
It could actually, do you know something? It's not one that I've come across before. What I would say is if you do it the way that I've just done it there, you know how I put 2 sheets of 300 GSM cardstock? Try just putting 1 in. And I suppose this goes back to the matrix as well. You know, this is the way that I found. Okay, maybe don't do it day in, day out, but I use my foil press probably every second day or so now, so pretty much day in and day out. So I can only give you the best way to use it as possible. It doesn't mean that you can't adapt it. If you think there's a little bit too much pressure, a little bit less, feel free to have a little bit of a play. I'm just trying to give you the best ways, the best layers, so that you can get going, and then you can start to adapt it yourself. Brilliant. So yeah, just try taking out a shim maybe.
Okay. Excellent. Because Hannah actually prefers the waste one that you did.
I do.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nicole says, I love using my foil press, but always have trouble foiling the waste. Try some of the tips that Craig has shown. It's possibly all about making sure it's heated up enough. I mean, I'm not into the foil press, or I don't use the foil press, especially not like Craig. So from what Craig has said, I would say it's about making sure you've got the heat on long enough, making sure you've got the right shim level.
Absolutely,
I think that's what I've picked up.
Yeah, and we will be doing the waste again a couple of times throughout this show.
Terry says, you know the one where you foiled the waste?
Yeah.
Can that now be cut with the die, or is it just going to cut the foil off?
No, it's just going to cut the foil off.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's kind of... It's the same when we come and use the normal dies, because it's a question that we get asked all the time, and that is a good question. Well, if you foiled with it, can you not cut it? Well, no, because you're just going to cut directly into what you've just foiled there.
That's
so,
what I thought.
Good question, but no, when it comes to the waste, you're going to have to use something like a nesting die or just use your guillotine. But good question.
Okay. Only one more question. Anne says, oh, yes, that helps a lot. That was about the heat. And she said,
Perfect.
yes, it was the heating, not the hearing plate.
Perfect.
We got there. Thank you, Nicola, because I didn't get heating plate. Hannah Gosling-Smith says, this might be a silly question, but can you foil directly onto a specific part of a card front, or do you always have to do it on a spare bit of card because accurate placing upside down is too hard?
I would always, this is personal, I will always do it on a separate piece of cardstock.
As well, you'd have to open out your card and then might not fit on the plate.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I think mats and layers.
Because the only way around that, Corrine, and this is in all honesty, it's going to just bend and buckle your card. Let's just say we're creating a card blank. Of course, at home, I use my scoring board. That's not what I'm doing to show you here. Let's just say that you foiled something. What you would then need to do, Corrine, is let's say, so we've got that. Yeah. Let's just say that's a full bit of foil. So we're going to foil onto that. Yeah. But then put that there, put that around. That's just going to bend and buckle that top layer. So I would... And
it could get caught going through your machine because it's not protected. Absolutely.
Now, if it got caught, it's just paper, so the chance of it doing damage is very slim. But what it's going to do, it's going to rip your cardstock, and then therefore defeats the purpose of foiling onto your card blank. I would always foil onto a separate piece and then mat and layer or adhere to my card blank.
I personally very rarely work onto card blanks.
No, I don't
personally.
either. No.
I always, even if it's just my white and a black layer, a matte layer, I can't think the last time personally I worked directly onto a card blank. Now I know I used to work and there was a company that did a lot of clean and simple sort of layering dies, and the girl that did that, she used to produce the most amazing cards directly onto the card front. And yeah, I've seen it and it does look amazing, but it's not something that I would personally ever do. Lillian says, hi everyone, hello Corrine and the CTV crew. Thanks for doing this today, Craig. I have dug out my machine. And Teresa says, can I use the foil press dies, stamps, without the foil press?
You can, it depends on the look that you want. They're not going to cut, but what you can do is you can emboss with them with your embossing match, which we'll do just shortly. So yeah, so they won't cut because they've not got a cutting edge, but if you like that impression that it gives you, that embossed impression, because you've got a thicker image, a thicker layer, then you can come on with your inks, you can come along with your gilding waxes. So yes, you can do.
Love that, love that. Right, now, our Nicola keeps saying to me, well, she's got some pictures for us. I've no idea. Oh, these are pretty. More of the cards, because we forgot to mention, it's World Card Making Day today. So we have said, we haven't asked the big bosses, we've just done it. If you send in a card, we're going to get a picture of a card today that you have made, hopefully with something that's Crafter's Companion on there. At the last show, we're going to get our Tracy to pick one, and one person's going to win a £10 voucher. So if you want to send them in, our James is just going to show that, not that one, it's not the prizes, it's the studio, there we go. studio@crafterscompanion.co.uk. Send it in with your name. Just send us one because we're going to get quite a lot and you'll only get one chance really. So send us one in and your favourite card, make sure it's got something Crafter's Companion on there, and then we'll pick a winner later, maybe about 7:30 I should think at our time. There we go. Okay, so we'll go back to it. Diana's first one. Absolutely gorgeous. That is the Bohemian. Is that the Bohemian collection or is that the magazine?
Oh.
Do you know which I mean? Magazine 2. Oh, I can't remember. I think it's Bohemian Magazine, Bohemian Collection, I think.
Collection, isn't it? Yeah.
Because she's used other elements. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. It's Bohemian. Let's just say Bohemian.
It's beautiful.
It covers it all. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the different colours of inking that she's got there. So pretty. Oh, Helen has sent one in as well.
Helen.
Such simple colours. Now, I think I might have seen something on a show with that. Again, that's a magazine die there. That is the Oh Holy Night from the magazine. That's the die from the magazine. I remember that.
It's certainly my style.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, next one, complete change. Kim Rice, Happy Halloween. Look at the colours on that. That's amazing.
So cool. That's doing like that technique that I like with the strips of card and paper in the back.
Oh, Michelle does that as well, I think.
I think Debbie's done it a few times too, Robinson.
Yeah, beautiful, Kim, thank you. Kirsty's in next.
Oh, wow.
Creator card. That is so pretty.
That's brilliant.
Do we call that modern edgeables? Is that a modern edgeable?
So one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. Beautiful, loving that. Now, Leslie, wow, what is coming through?
That's cool.
That's multiple pictures, isn't it? Yes. Yes, the same
one.
Project, but multiple pictures. But I love that. I love craft. Oh, don't we all? Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Leslie. We're loving that.
Collection takes me back. It's a couple of years, isn't it, Sarah's collection?
Wow, the next one. I'm loving the next one from Olga. Olga, just for Nicola. There you go. Nicola's sharing it because it's just too cute not to share. There we go.
It's doggy friends. He's been seen on TV.
There we go. Absolutely gorgeous, Olga. We love that too. Thank you, everybody, for sending those. We'll do another round of pictures. Now, they are just totally random. That doesn't mean that you're definitely, going to win, or those are the ones that definitely won't. It's just totally random. Nicola's just putting a few up on the screen. There we go. Laurel says, I have had my foil press for a long time and actually been afraid to use it. This tutorial is so helpful. Thanks, Craig and Corrine. Well, I'm glad you're finding it useful, Laurel. But please, please go onto our YouTube channel and type in foil press. Craig, I mean, how many shows do you reckon you've done with a foil press?
Oh gosh, honestly, I really could not count. What I would say as well is lately I know Debbie Robinson's done one or two as well, so check out the whole teams that have featured the foil press, because we all have different takes. It is predominantly, I seem to have been given the title of the foil press because I love it so much and I use it so much. That's not taking away anything that likes of Debbie and that do, because it's their spin as well. Incredible things that you can do. And it's purposely why, when I thought it was about, when we knew that we were doing these shows, I thought, right, Corrine, do I just go in and foil this material, that material, the next material, and do all these different ones? Or did I think, right, realistically, me, what do I foil? Do I do fabrics?
No.
Not really. I've done that in the past. You'll find it on YouTube. Do I do leathers? No. Will I find it on YouTube? Yes, I've done it in the past. Acetate, vellum, all of these you'll find across on YouTube. I thought, right, let's bring in the stamps, the dies, the collection that we've got from Crafter's Companion that we probably predominantly use the most, and then show you how you can do different techniques when it comes to the dies that come with them or just the dies on their own. So if you are wanting to see lots of different mediums of that, go across onto YouTube. You'll see past shows from me and Debbie and Sarah, Leanne as well. But this one, this is Craft Your Stash. It's more about exactly that, crafting the stash that you've got, but with your foil press.
Brilliant. Yeah, we are loving it, and there is so much love coming in on the comments for all this show. Right, we're going to have a little break, a bit later than we normally do. Here's a little video all about Crafters TV. We'll be back with you in 3 or 4 minutes.
What makes Crafters TV so special is you guys.
It's really special because the experts are really experts. They're really skilled at what they do, and they want to make sure that the audience also improves on their skills.
Crafters TV is so special because you've got together a really sort of key group of people and people that are very passionate about the product.
Crafters TV is so special because it's a unique community that we have with each other where we can learn and grow and communicate with each other.
Community, the family spirit, the education, everything to do with craft. We are all like-minded people who share a passion.
I love all the inspiration the demonstrators bring and all the knowledge for us out here.
What makes Crafters TV so special? 100% it's the interaction. No other crafting TV channel or show has the same interaction.
I love the community, I love chatting live, I think that's the best part. And it's gone beyond crafting because we've become friends.
Feels to me to be a really, really close relationship with our customers and viewers.
You guys make us feel like we're part of your family. I've never been on the show before, but one of my friends who I did meet from CCTV encouraged me, and I was on the craft along.
Massive team of people, and I think they've all got their role to play, and it just brings everything together. It allows us to do our job and just love it.
The people, obviously, the people not just here at Crafts Companion, but the viewers that watch us. I mean, everybody. We have this real magical essence about it.
Bye for now. Bye.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get social with us. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, on your TV or tablet, you can get so close to the action, it's like you're in the studio with us. You can ask questions about products or crafty techniques. Get hints and tips from our expert demonstrators. Plus, share pictures of your crafty makes with our amazing community. Crafters TV, getting you closer to the crafty action.
Hi, I'm Ben from Crafters TV. As you may know, we've just launched an amazing new website, our new home of papercraft to house all of your crafty needs. And as we've had a bit of a makeover, I'm here today to help you log into your account on our brand new site. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Go to the Crafters Companion homepage. Make sure to select the correct location at the top of the page. Go to the My Crafters icon on the top right of your screen. Next, enter your email address. Then, enter your password. Click the Sign In button. You should now be logged into your account and taken to your My Crafters page. When you're ready to log out, go to the left-hand side of the page and click the Log Out button in the My Account box. When you're logged out, you'll be taken back to the Crafters Companion page. And it's as easy as that.
We're switching on the spotlight and turning up the sparkle because our amazing 18th birthday is nearly here.
We're going all out this year to light up the dance floor for our biggest and brightest party ever.
And best of all, everyone's on the guest list. So, join us from the 9th to the 22nd of October to dance yourself dizzy.
And we're really spoiling you this year. We've got more glitter than a disco ball.
So get ready for a dazzling lineup of fantastic craft launches and so many fabulous crafty treats and surprises.
Crafters, this is your time to shine. Head across to our new Crafters Companion website where you can have a look at our birthday booklet for all of our incredible deals.
Hello and welcome back. Very, very... Right, right. I have got it. We're told we've got another question. Right, so... Oh, what Crafty Stacey Lou says, one thing this show is going to make me think of... I've just read... No. One thing this show is doing is making me think of trading my OG in for the G2. Yeah, lots of reasons. There we are, Crafty Stacey Lou. Yeah. I've just been told, wait for next week. Next week. Okay, didn't hear that from me. Diane, can you foil a piece of card, then use the foiled card to die cut? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, it's adhered. It's not going to come off. It's not going to peel. So you can cut round it. I would cut round it, like Craig said, with a nesting die or something like that. Tim C, love my foil press, but not had confidence of using it a lot on finished cards. But watching Craig and the techniques, I might now start. Okay, Terry Anderson, we were talking, Terry's going to reword the question. A cut and foil stamp stroke die, will it die cut using the Gemini plate combination, not the foil press? Ah, so you know that cut and that stamp, well, if you took that stamp that cuts and put it in your Gemini as a regular die, what would it do?
Yeah, that would cut. That would cut. It's not going to give you an impression. It's not going to give you like the foiled impression or anything like that. So
but the blades would cut, but nothing else would happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So let's bring in our plate. You know, so I've not done this in a long time when it comes to these ones. So let's come in with our normal. So let's go in. I'm going to try the normal plate configuration, meaning I'm going to pop in my magnetic as well.
So this is for Terry. So this is using a foil press stamp and die, and see what happens when you use it in your G2 without foiling.
So that will cut out.
Oh, it's cut out beautifully.
So it's cut out because it's a die. It is a die. And then, well, in actual fact, if you're using the G2, you're going to get, can we see here, because we've used the G2, what it's done, Corrine, is it's given you the incredible pressure. So therefore, it's given you an indentation. So therefore...
That looks lovely.
That looks really, really nice.
Have you found that in the past with just the OG or the Junior, you didn't get as much as that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you get a light deboss, but nothing as strong as the G2.
There you go, Terry.
So there you go.
We answered it, finally worked out the question, and there you go. I hope that helped. I think that was a success.
It was.
Tim C says, question for Craig. I have the frame foil press dies that came with the foil press. Not sure the best way of adding these onto the cards. Do you know what frame dies come, or stamps, come with the machine when they get it new?
When you get the little selection that you get, you could just frame a sentiment around it and then maybe matte and layer that onto a piece of coloured card, texture card, and then add that to the card blank. You know, you can maybe put a little topper in the middle of the frame if you want to, but I would always elevate it. So I would always put any of my die cut foiled frames onto a backing layer and then add onto the card blank. So if you then start to matte and layer it in that way, but if that's the ones that I'm thinking of that come with the foil press, and just do that, yeah.
Okay,
or use them as a shaker. Put acetate at the back and then your foam on a roll and then sequins or something at the back.
Okay, just as an aside, Mary, what was her surname, did you say? Mary Shaw, I'm not sure whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. You sent an email, you forgot to attach the card that you were sending us a picture of. Just, we want to be fair. We don't want you to say, oh, I could have won. It might be the best card we get all day. So send us it again, Mary. Do that. And also, I'm thinking, because this probably answers Alicia's question, if you had a frame and you were going to foil it, would you put your sentiment on first, or would you do your foiling first and then stamp your sentiment in the aperture, or, you know, the white space afterwards?
Yeah, I would always do my foiling first. I would always do my foiling first so that I get it in the position that I want it to be, because it can be a lot harder to actually position the foil press stamp and foil around your pre-stamped sentiment or that, just in case it was to move slightly. Because when it comes to the foil press platform, you've got no magnetic base like you would have.
And you're working blind, aren't you?
You're working
blind. Upside down.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what Alicia's saying. She said, I may have missed it. Can I foil over a stamped sentiment? Well, I'm assuming you mean you're foiling round a stamped sentiment. Put your stamped sentiment on second, foil your shape, and then stamp into that shape, because you're working upside down, it's impossible to see. I hope that's did. Betty Thrupp Black says, late to the party, but I am here to watch Craig Laird, Crafter's Companion, doing his thing. He certainly is. He's showing us all. Hey, I was wondering, has Craig used the dies from Sheena yet? Because I was in the shower. I hope I didn't miss Not yet.
Not yet.
No, no. Oh, wow. I may need to get me some of the dice. Thanks, Craig. And Corrine says, Terry, brilliant. Hannah said, what was that plate combo for that again? Was it just standard white, magnetic, clear, white? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Hannah. There was nothing fancy in that. Right now, I can see Craig setting bits up. What are you setting up for us next, Craig, please?
So before we go on to kind of like the next technique, let's just have a look. So it's actually going kind of back to what we've done there a moment ago once we've cut it. But this time, what you can do with your foil and cut ones is you can then emboss the detail. Now, they're not going to cut, but they will emboss. So if we come along as if we are just embossing our die cut layer already, so just pretend you've already done the die cut when it comes to your dies, and now we're going to emboss them with the embossing mat. So your base plate, your embossing mat, and then we're just going to pop our Foilpress stamp over the top. We're going to do our frosted, we've taken out our magnetic, and then our top plate. And this is going to go for your silver Foilpress stamps as well. You can do it for both the silver ones and these grey ones here. And what this is going to do, again, because of the pressure, there's enough pressure to emboss it, there's not pressure to cut it. So therefore, what you're going to be left with is you're going to be left with beautiful design, and in actual fact, with the pressure of our Gemini, look, it's even cut that centre one, which in actual fact, I'm not really bothered about because that's quite cool. But then what you can then do is come in with things such as your gilding wax. I'm just going to do it on a bit of scrap, so I don't need to clean my glass mat. And then what we can then do is then we can then just come along, and then we can then take, in actual fact, there might be enough pressure there that it's cut it. Let's have a look. But let's go in with our waxes just now. So when it comes to your Foilpress stamps, pop them in when it comes to your embossing mat, Foilpress stamps or foil and cut, and then you can then start to do all of your gilding waxes. Or, if this is the white cardstock, like we've done before, go along when it comes to things such as your water reactive or your duet or your pigment. So you're now using your Foilpress stamp and dies in different ways. Let's see, is that cut? Oh, it's cut just perfectly. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
And that was just the embossing, but that's to do with the pressure of our Gemini 2. But then look at that. So what was a Foilpress stamp and cut, we've now embossed, and we've gone around with a gilding
ways now, haven't you?
So that's 3 ways now. So, well, 4 ways if you think. We've got the positive, we've got the negative, we've got the cut in ink, and then we've got the emboss and waxed.
From one.
From one.
From one.
From one way.
Absolutely.
One way.
Absolutely amazing.
So-
We are loving that. That is so useful. Just shows the versatility of what you can do with those. Right, I think I've caught up with all of
Brilliant.
my comments. So I'm going to throw it straight back to Craig, because it's not about me chatting today. It's all about Craft Your Stash and the Foilpress.
Right, let's go along with a normal wafer thin die. So this one is our embroidered lace. I love this one here, and the detail within this one is absolutely exceptional. Now, it does not just have to be our Crafter's Companion wafer thin dies. It could be any brand out there, as long as it's your silver wafer thin and that they fit onto your platform. Now, the only exception that you've got is your multi-craft dies are just a little bit too thick when it comes to that pressure.
Oh,
So-
you mean your bronzy coloured ones?
Yeah, so I wouldn't use them. And if you have an old cutting machine, Corrine, I'm sure you'll remember it, the Todo, you can't, if you've still got dies from that machine a number of years ago, you can't use those because they're also just a little bit too thick.
Right.
Other than that, you know, whether it is Spellbinders, whether it is Tonic, Hunky Dory, whether it is Tattered Lace, anything like that, as long as it's a silver wafer thin die, which most dies are, you can foil with them as long as they fit onto your
That must be
platform.
quite confusing, because Todo's about foiling, so I bet a lot of
Exactly,
people
yeah.
have thought, oh yeah, they'll cross over.
Absolutely. Now, because this is our normal wafer thin die, what I'm not going to do with this is really refer to the matrix, because if I refer to the matrix, that tells me it's a large. However, yes, it is large in size, but it does not mean that it needs a lot of time. It actually needs very, very little time, because all you're needing is the heat to then bounce up to the top cutting parts. So for something like this, I am going on at 6 seconds.
Okay.
6 seconds for that. And then what we're going to do...
Some people are going to say that's hardly worth it, Craig, aren't they? But
yeah,
it is.
well, wait until you see the result. Wait until you see the result and see if you're saying that after I've done this. So let's go in. Now the key thing is when it comes to a normal die, make sure that it's facing upwards. The actual cutting blade, and I say blade loosely, is facing upwards. Never have it facing down, otherwise you're going to cut into your mat. So you've always got it facing up. So we're going to set that on, and then we're going to do our carbon plate, and then we're just going to do that countdown of 6 seconds. Now that's just enough for you. The only reason, just in case you wonder, the only reason I'm holding it down is you can see I've got the fan on, so that's blowing cold air. So I'm stopping any cold air getting to it. So just in case anyone's thinking, why am I holding it down? You don't need to do that unless you've got a fan on. So I'm going to go with our paper craft foil, shiny side down, and then I'm going to pop my cardstock over the top. We're going to go in with our plate. We're going to slide that out. And then, of course, when it comes to the G2, we're just going to go in, holding that just while it grabs and it runs through. If you're using the original Gemini A4, then you'll need your extender plate that would talk through. But then if I then move that out the way, what we'll then is you'll start to see that outline already. So what we can then do, Corrine, look at that. Now, any of that, don't worry. Sometimes it's just a little bit of the pressure that's holding it in. Just come along with a little pokey tool or something like that, and then just give that little bit of a scrape off. So it can be normal to happen with that, so don't ever worry about that.
And that's with 6 seconds. Imagine if you'd have heated that up longer as well.
Exactly, I know. 6 seconds. 6 seconds for your most intricate die cuts that you've got. Remember, if they're going to fit onto your Foilpress platform, then of course it's going to work. It's going to work an absolute dream. But what you can then do is if you've got little rectangle nesting dies for the centre, then of course you can do that. Or what you can then do is if we take that out the way, we're then going to bring in the next one. Now that's even smaller, so therefore that I'm going to do about 4 seconds for that one. Let's come in with my foil. I'm just going to make sure this time that it is just cut to size. So we're going to go in with the next one, and then we're going to place our die facing upwards. We're then going to go in with our platform. We're going to then press start, or our carbon plate. Let that do the countdown. So we've now got our main outline layer. Move that. We're going to go in, and then let's bring in another bit of card. I wasn't quite ready there for that one, but let's bring this bit in I've got here. I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to pop that on. And if you go on to past videos that we've done in the past, I've done Centura Pearl cardstock, I've done coated cardstock and all that. So although I'm doing white and black to really just show you the techniques, you'll be able to do this on lots of different cardstocks. If I then lift this one up, what we've then got is taken that one off. Let's just give those little bits just a little scrape that you can see here. So we've now got our inner layer. So all that you would then need to do, let's just use my paper trimmer for this. So you can come along with your nesting dies, your rectangle nesting dies, or depending on what shape of creative card that you're using. We can then simply come along, and then we can then cut into panels. I'd be inclined to come and do a little bit of matting and layering maybe with another colour. We've got our middle panel. If I just neaten that one up into here. So let's neaten it up just a little bit more. Work your way around. Let's go up to the top here. Either with your guillotine or craft knife. Finish that off. Edge that all the way around into here. And then what you've then got is you've then got your foil that you can then elevate within the middle.
Yeah, imagine that with just like a little bit of red mirror card
Absolutely,
underneath or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, anything like that you'll be able to use. Or if you've got our purple luxury cardstock or anything like that, cerise cardstock at home, again, I would add matte and layer around that. But what's come from a normal die, we've then foiled that. Every little bit of that detail has
So
formed
dainty.
like an absolute dream, foiled to perfection. But then maybe you want to foil your actual die cuts. So maybe you want to die cut that out and foil it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what I actually cut from Venetian Grace earlier on, because I had it just to the side of me, so I thought, right, let's foil that. So this is now foiling any of your intricate die cuts, any of your sentiments, any of your outlines that you've got. And all that we need to do is we need to treat this. So if you're foiling any of your die cuts, we're going to treat this as the waste technique, because it's the same combination.
Right.
So I'm going to go reset, and then I'm going to go 1 minute 10 up to here. So let's just use that same foil again, same coloured foil.
Quick question while you're cutting.
Yeah.
Laurel says, Craig, this may have already been asked, but what is the shelf life of Crafter's Companion foil?
As far as I'm aware, it doesn't have one. I've still
That's what I thought.
Foils from ever since I joined, which was just after the foil press came out, and they're still, you know, I use small amounts, but they're absolutely fine. Yeah.
I can say I didn't think there was anything in. It's not like wax or a glue that you could leave the lid off or anything like that. And
nothing like that. Nothing like that.
I suppose if they've got overheated somewhere or left on a windowsill or something like that, it's not going to be good for them.
No, maybe
Probably
just like in a dry, cool
place.
sort of room or something like that. Yeah, something like that would be absolutely fine. That's where I store mine as well. So, and they've been absolutely fine. So this is the right side. So this is the side that I want to foil. So let's go with our sheet of foil. So always facing down. So because this is the side that I'm wanting to foil, we're going to go face down.
Yeah.
We're going to put our shims in, but what the shims are also going to do is that's going to protect any of this waste foil. So it's going to capture that. We're then going to do our magnetic shim, and then we're going to go back in with our carbon plate, and we're going to do that countdown and letting it do its countdown. And I don't know if there's any other comments or that just while it's counting down,
I've only
Corrine?
got one, and that's Nonna Lawton says, I need to get my foil press and OG out of their boxes. Is your die cutting machine in its box as well? Yes, definitely. I would be lost without my die cutting machine. I couldn't craft without my die cutting machine. It's like my right hand now. Well, it's my left hand. Right hand. That's my right hand, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely you do. Don't forget, if you've got the OG with the foil press, you need the extender plate that Craig was talking about earlier. Your foil press won't go through your OG without an extender plate because of the way the sensors are. So yes, make sure you get that one. But other than that, I think we are there. We've done so many questions.
Excellent.
You did those as well. So yeah, hopefully that is caught
I was kind of banking on this one as well, being quite heavy based on questions, just for anyone, because it's been a few weeks, if not a little bit longer, since I've done anything on the foil press. So I was kind of hoping that if there was a time that anyone had generic questions about it, wanting to double check, just fire them away and then do as what we can to show you. But that's it, done the countdown now. So we're just going to slide that one out, and then we're going to run it through. With this being kind of like that waste technique layering, remember, it is going to slow down the Gemini ever so slightly, the sound of it anyway, which is completely normal, because what we're wanting to do, where we've shown you the waste technique earlier, where we foil onto a piece of cardstock, essentially that's what we're doing, it's just the cardstock's die cut.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. The only difference is that the cardstock is already cut. So we're going to take away all these layers, and then of course this waste, these shims of course captured all of that essential waste, which
so
is
there
all
is
the
no
way
waste
around.
left over because it's stuck to the card.
Not at all, yeah. And then you'll see in actual fact that the waste that's left on this background is quite cool, because you've then got a mirrored image.
So that's your carrier sheet.
So that's my carrier sheet that I'm just taking off there. So other than the very, very edges, nothing left on that. And then if I come along, and then if I move that out the way for now, there is your die cut.
Wow.
So your die cut frame, your die cut layer, your die cut sentiment, your die cut image, whatever it is, we've now die cut. So you might not be able to reach for a variety of different luxury cardstocks at the moment with, you know, we understand everything that's going on in the world. You can maybe only have your basic cardstock, you know, potentially then just stock up on some key foils that are still available and then foil all your own die
It's
cuts.
about everything coordinating, isn't it, as well?
It does, but then look at what is the waste. You're left with that on the background that you can see. So again, what you can then do, if you wanted to, although I've used this layer a couple of times, but let's just say we neaten this up. So let's neaten this up all the way around. We've then got, what really would have been the waste that I'll have chucked out into the bin. We've now got a second one. So that was the positive that we foiled our die cut. And then because, of course, it's creating that silhouette feel.
That's beautiful.
So then a little sentiment in there. Or because what you've also got, because these are foil and these are a non-porous surface, Corrine, actually. Let's just, I know that the honey pot in this won't really go, but it's just to show. If we come in, what you're then going to get,
because foil resists
it's going to resist.
water-reactive ink.
Absolutely, it's going to resist. And because it's our white multi-purpose, therefore we're going to get that colour transferred through onto the white multi-purpose. And then all that I would then do on that foil is come along with microfiber cloth or kitchen cloth and just take off any of that excess ink
that's sitting
on the foil. And now that has come from that has come from the die cut of a die from a papercraft collection where we foiled the positive, but then we've gone along, we've kept the negative, but then we've done a resist effect when it comes to the negative.
Absolutely beautiful. It just shows you, doesn't it? There are so many different ways. I don't think Craig has repeated a technique. I mean, we've been going an hour and 20 minutes and we haven't, I know, it is where has the time gone, it really has. Oh, I've got just a couple of, Tracy Lewis says, I love my Foilpress, I need to use it more. This is a good show to inspire me. Well, I'm really glad. Rhonda says, I bought the large Foilpress platform and not taken it out of the box yet. Get it out, Rhonda, get it out.
Get it out.
It certainly is. What is the easiest way to use the individual letters for the Foilpress?
I would, the easiest way. So this is one of those things where it depends, of course, if you've got a double letter in a name. So if you happen to have a name or a word that's just got one single letter, you're not having to repeat any, I would just do them all together. You do have grids on. So this is obviously going back to the question earlier on we had about that impression of the grids starting to pop through. What you have got, what I really like about this, is you've got your centre. So instead of it being inches from like 0 to 6 upwards, what you've got is it's 0 in the middle and then it's 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So then you can easily work out that that is the centre point of your Foilpress. So if you are lining them up, then, you know, like let's say you can do, so say Emma. So you could do EM and then just use one of those as a way to space out for your additional M and then have the A. Because once you've foiled once, you can refoil again. So what I mean by that is, if you've already foiled EM and A, you know, you can come along with that single letter in between and foil that. I'll only need a few seconds. But if you've already foiled a letter, going on with more intense heat afterwards, not going to affect that foiling.
Oh, that's worth knowing.
So you're able to go back. So even if it's a letter or a name that's got 3 letters in it, 3 of the same letters in it, then you can foil so much, then go back into that letter again, foil it for the second time, that individual letter, and then do that individual letter a third time as well. And all that foiling steps that you've done beforehand, it's not going to affect it, it's not going to crust off, it's not going to crumble. You can then foil a number of times, the heat's not going to affect it.
That's really worth knowing, because how many names do you know that have multiples of the same letter? I mean, my name's got 2 R's in. My daughter, I've got Hannah, well, we all know that's H-A-N. N-A-H, it's the same ones. I've got a Jessamy that's got double S in, you know what I mean? And but you only get one of each letter in an alphabet, so that's really useful to know. Thank you. Cindy says, I've had the foil press for quite a while, but became overwhelmed with use. Craig makes it so much easier, and he is an excellent instructor. I would say, if you don't want to craft along as we're doing this now, come back and watch this at a later date where you can pause and rewind and almost just have this as a tutorial. Do the techniques and try it. A technique that Craig showed with this, try it with this sort of die, try it with this sort of die, try it with a foil press stamp. Just keep practicing and trying it with different ones. So yes, that's brilliant. Craig, Eleanor says, can you use any brand of foil for the foil press?
Good question. Yes, as long as it's a heat-activated foil. So, you know, don't use a cold foil that you would use with a sticky glue or something like that. As long as it's a heat-active foil, then absolutely you can do. Prime example, certainly here in the UK, I know you can get his stuff stateside as well. Keith from Paper Dynamics, he does his foil that he does is a heat foil. So yes, you can do. Just as long as it's a heat foil, then yes, you can do use any other brand.
That's brilliant.
And also as well, you can use ours with other brands too as well, so you can mix and match.
Have you got Liam is trying to carry more than he can. You ready for Christmas, are you, Liam? So he's used his neck, he's used his hat. And Craig and I are trying to do a show where we both went. We have our own personalised Christmas tree there. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Liam. Thank you. All right. OK. Lots of comments coming in. Samantha Cheney, I bought the foil press when it was first offered and haven't used it yet. It's still in the box. Please get it out tonight, tomorrow, soon, while it's fresh. Don't say I won't do it next week, because next week never comes. Eleanor, I had my foil press for a while and haven't really used it in a long time, so I'm going to be using it for Christmas now. Brilliant.
Nice.
Nonna Launton, thank goodness for the save button. I need to watch again from the beginning. I certainly love the last technique with the die cut, etc. Brilliant. That's what I was saying. Do it when you can pause and rewind and rewatch. Christine B, if you die cut your ugly cardstock, would that technique work? Ugly cardstock.
If you say that again.
Exactly, word for word. If you die cut your ugly cardstock, would that technique work?
As in foiling it?
But what's ugly cardstock?
So is that like cardstock that you've got within your stash that you don't really like? That, you know, sometimes you've got a colour, you're like, oh, I don't really like that colour, I'll not use it. Then, of course, if you've got a strong foil, that will overtake that colour of cardstock.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would. Yeah.
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 We're not quite sure what ugly cardstock is.
Yeah, not sure about that.
Christine, yeah. Laurie says, thank you, Craig and Corrine. A lot of useful information. I really need to get mine out of the box today. There we go. Oh, that one came through. Can you use 2 colours of foil on a die at the same time or go back and do them individually?
You can use as many colour foils as you want at the same time, and hopefully, if we get time, we'll show you that as well.
Okay. Have we got the foil on the website at the moment, do you know? No.
Is there none at the moment?
Okay. We might not have any on the website at the moment. But, as Craig just said, go and just do a Google search for heat-activated foil. We know Keith sells some. So, yeah, go and have a look for there. Heat-activated foil. We can say, if we've not got any, we're allowed to say that to you. How can you tell the difference between heat and glue foil, says Nonna?
That you just have to look at the packaging.
Packaging.
You have to look at the packaging. The packaging will tell you whether it's a heat foil or if it is like it's either called heat foil or glue foil. Glue foil, because you said glue foil. Heat foil or cold foil.
Perfect, thank you. And the last question is, this might be a crazy question, but can you foil onto fabrics with the foil press? I know the answer, but I'm not answering.
Yes, you can do. Absolutely.
Regular foil or multi-purpose foil?
So, believe it or not, for your fabric or that, I would use your paper craft foil.
Would you?
For that, yeah. Yep. You can use multi-surface as well. You'll still need to increase the time and temperature, but yeah, even something like that I would use. And go back onto YouTube and watch all these past shows, because we've done fabrics and all that sort of stuff, and I've used the paper
And it looks
craft foil.
amazing on denim and stuff like that. Really good, thank you. Shadaya, good morning, Craig and Corrine. Well, good morning, Shadaya. I don't know what time zone you're in, but good morning wherever you are. Okay, so what we're doing next, he says, oh, couple more pics. Oh, wow. This first one looks amazing. From Hannah. Hannah Gosling-Smith. Look at that. I am loving the colours there. Beautiful. Thank you, Hannah. A little bit of a drop shadow on there. Absolutely gorgeous. Nice. We are loving that. Loving the colours. Lynn Harvey. Is this a crater card, Craig, or has she put the butterflies on afterwards?
That's the butterflies afterwards, isn't it? It's one of the edgeables.
Oh, it's an edgeables with the butterflies. Right, yes, it is. Now I see that. Thank you. Next one is from Mary. I hope she's given this to the recipient, because Roberta will see it now.
These dies are awesome on the foil press, because you can foil the inner layer, die cut the outer layer, foil the outside layer.
Oh,
these are fab, yeah.
What do we call those dies? They are
large frame dies or something?
Yes, I think it is. It might be the large frame dies. Yeah, I know exactly which one you want, because we do a lot of paper piecing with them, don't we? Yeah. Beautiful, Mary. Really loving that. And look at this one Sandra sent in. We might be doing some foiling with this in a minute. Look at that. Beautiful. That's a Sheena one that she's launched quite recently. Loving that. Beautiful colouring in there, Sandra. So pretty. And Terry Anderson. This is so pretty. Look at that. It's like it is a book. That is so beautiful. Nice. We are loving that. So pretty. Thank you for sending those. Right, we're just going to have a quick break. There we go. We are going to have a quick break all about CTV.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Are we in trouble or are we all right? Should be coming in. Should be coming.
What does she do?
Exactly how he looks.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
And I watch you every day, and it's just what really gets you through when you're really at rock bottom.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
If you love Crafters TV, we've made it easy for you to watch us wherever you are. Whether you catch us on your tablets or take us with you on your mobile phone, it's easy to watch us anywhere. From here to here. Maybe don't watch us here. It would be easy to watch us here. Probably the easiest place to watch us is here. Crafters TV, with you wherever you are.
Hi, I'm Ben from Crafters TV. As you may know, we've just launched an amazing new website. Our new home of Papercraft to house all of your crafty needs. And as we've had a bit of a makeover, I'm here today to help you add those crafty goodies to your basket and check out. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. First, head on over to the Crafters Companion homepage. Select the correct geographical location at the top of the page. Next, log into your My Crafters account. Explore the site and products using the navigation bar at the top of the screen. When you find the product you want, add to your basket by clicking the Add to Basket button. You'll then have the option to view your basket or continue shopping. If you want to check out, click View Your Basket. Here you can see the list of items you've added along with the order summary on the right-hand side of the screen. This is also where you'll see your loyalty discount. And just remember, the price you're seeing at this stage is excluding any delivery charges. This will also be your opportunity to add any discount codes you may have. Simply type in the code, hit apply, and if your code is valid, you should see the correct amount of discount deducted from your order total. Once you're happy to go ahead with your order, click the Proceed to Checkout button in the summary box on the right-hand side of your screen. If you want to use ShopPay, PayPal or Google Pay, you can select the relevant option under Express Checkout and you'll be given instructions on how to check out. If you have a gift card, you can enter the code on the right-hand side of the screen and press Apply. You should see the correct amount of discount deducted from your total. If you'd like to pay by card, the details linked to your account should appear in the relevant fields. If these aren't showing, you'll need to fill out the correct details. When you've entered your payment information, click the Continue to Shipping button at the bottom of the screen. Select your preferred shipping option, click Continue to Payment. Here, you can enter your card details or select ShopPay, PayPal or ClearPay. Next, make sure the correct billing address is entered under the billing address section, or if this is the same as your shipping address, then you'll have the option to select it. Click Pay Now, and that's it. You'll be taken to a thank you page with an order number, and you'll also receive a confirmation email with the details of your crafty purchase, which will be on its way to you very soon.
And welcome back. I hope that was all very helpful for you and informative. Hannah Gosling-Smith says, is toner reactive foil different? Yeah, because it reacts to toner rather than heat. So yeah, you want heat reactive foil, nothing else, no others, the cold, toner reactive, there we go. And Linda, we just said about telling the difference between the different types of foil is just read the box. It's as simple as read the packaging. That's the only way that you can guarantee that you're going to be able to tell the difference. So I hope that helps. Have you got another technique set up for us, Craig?
Let's do the one with Sheena, so we make sure that we get it in. Let's do this one. Now, this one is pretty much using a normal die again, but it's now just bringing the world of your stamping dies together, but foiling, and then, of course, when it comes to stamping. Now, the difference with these ones is, of course, you can't cut with the die afterwards because you've just foiled with the die. But again, just go into a square bit of cardstock, something like that, which then you can come along and mat and layer, or a circle nest and die. So for this, what you're going to want to do is let's bring cardstock, we'll do white because we're going to stamp the stamp as well, and we'll do gold so that we can see it well. But what you're going to want to do for this is we're going to want to then cut essentially little slithers, little panels. If I was to foil it like that, now it just fits, but if I was to foil it like that, of course, I would be more sparing with my foil. What could happen, Corrine, is this is where we would get over foiling, because the foil would sink into the base there,
right.
And then therefore you're going to get that foiling in the middle, and then when we come and stamp, well, you're going to stamp over this residual foil. So what we're going to do is we're just going to then essentially cut kind of like strips or panel. We're going to be doing kind of like a patchwork effect for the die.
So this could actually be done with multiple colours if you've got lots of bits left over.
Yeah, multiple colours, or just if you've got lots of strips or bits left over from, you know, the same colour. But yeah, same colour or multiple colour, absolutely. This is going to be good for that. So I'm just going to move that one out the side just for a second. Let's bring in our paper trimmer. Again, you can use the guillotine, just bring this in because I've got it to the side of me. I'm going to go just a little bit over with 5 inches into here. I'm going to go bigger because that's going to make it too tight for me. Thing is as well is all that you need to worry about is your die is on your platform, your heat platform. Don't worry about overhang if you're using the G2 or the A4 Gemini, because you don't need to worry about that. You will need to take into account overhang if you're using the Junior, because you've not got that wide mouth, you've only got that 6-inch mouth. But if you're using the large one, then of course you don't need to take into account any overhang. And this is what I also love about the foil press. just playing away. It's getting strips, it's cutting strips or having strips, and just finding your way to adapt when it comes to things such as these. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in. Now for something like this, I'm only going to go, I could probably get away with 2 seconds,
wow.
but I'm going to go in with 3 seconds just to make sure. But even with 3 seconds, I might get a little bit of overfoiling. I don't want it, but if I get it, I'm going to be happy because I can show you how to rectify it, although it's just refoiling essentially. So we're going to pop our dye over the top.
That's about as big as you can go because it's going quite close to the edges, isn't it?
It is, it is. So all that we're wanting to do is we're wanting to essentially do kind of like our patchwork effect. So we're just going to go all the way around and try and be semi-quick, because although I said it's on the heat for 3 seconds, Corrine, technically it's already sitting on the heat.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's sitting on the heat. So therefore, that's why you only need very, very little time. But we're just wanting to do a little bit of a patchwork effect. We're then just going to go over the top. I'm hoping that I've got that square on. And then I'm just going to press start. Now, I shouldn't have put my cardstock on yet because I hadn't pressed start. But I wasn't...
3 seconds.
And I'm not going to lift my card because what would probably happen, it would lift all that foil. So I'm not overly concerned. But all that we're going to do is we're just going to feed in. As I say, if you've got a little bit overhang with the large Gemini, don't worry because it's not going to affect it whatsoever. It's not going to catch. It may catch if you're using the Junior. But then we're just going to bring this one back in. We're just then going to lift. And then as we take that off, what we're left with, how
perfect.
Cool
no overfoiling at all.
Is that we've got the most delicate outline foil when it comes to, of course, Sheena's dye. Then we're going to come along. There we go, James is coming in here. Look at that. Perfect. So you've got the nice delicate foil. We're then going to come along now, and for this is, again, this would be a great time to use your magnetic base stamping platform. You could use your 6x6, but with this, you want the base to be steady. You want the cardstock base, that is that, to be nice and steady, and you want to be able to manoeuvre the stamp into place. Because what you're wanting to do is, I'm going to try not get my head in the way, but what you're wanting to do is you're just wanting to follow the stamp. You're just wanting to make sure that you're in that foiled outline. And then once you think you're happy with that, we can come along with our stamping platform. So let's press that in. So now our stamp's in the place, our dye's in the right place. I'm just going to manipulate that a little bit, press that in. Sorry, our stamp's in the right place and our foiled layer's in the right place. So we're now going to use, I'm just using my alcohol-proof ink pad, because what I'm going to do is, obviously I won't have time to colour this within this show. I'm going to take it home and colour it in. So let's ink up, I'm just using Noir Black, and then turn that back around, and then let it settle, as I usually explain, and then we're going to come along, and then we're going to press. So this is now going to give us a 6x6 front, 7x7, 8x8, depending on the size. But instead of having the die-cut snowflake, you've now brought Sheena's range, where you've got the stamp, you've got the die, you've got the embossing folder, but now you've transformed the die into a foiled outline.
Yeah.
So you're now using it in a different way. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that?
You could leave it on the top, or you could, if you're good at cutting, you could cut it out, couldn't you?
Of course
that
you
looks
could.
gorgeous. So you've done with your alcohol proof, because you're going to colour with your alcohol pens, because you're not going to touch that foil.
That's right, yeah.
You're not
yeah.
So Hannah says, if you were to foil using a die, say the outline of a rose, but one that doesn't have a stamp, I'm thinking, would you have to colour with aqua pens so they resist rather than alcohol markers, because she's assuming they would foil they would colour the foil?
Yeah, so it depends on the strength of the colour, depends on the tone. So if it's a really strong dark colour, then absolutely it's going to, of course, then colour your foil outline because it's an alcohol pen. The lighter the tone, you don't really have to worry, certainly if you're using a gold or if you're using a cerise or you're using a red, something like that. The lighter tones don't really matter. But then if you are wanting to do it on the flip side, if you want to do lots of different colours washes, then yeah, do it on your watercolour card with your aqua pens, and then that's going to give you the washability or colouring with your paintbrushes.
Brilliant. Roxanne says, was that cut side up?
Always cut side out. So when you're using normal dyes, I know you'll have heard me refer to it a few times throughout this show, but again, when it comes to normal die cutting dyes, they are always facing up. Never, ever, ever have the die facing down because you're going to cut into your heat mat. And then, of course, what you're just going to do is you're going to damage it. So all your normal dies that you use to die cut are facing upwards. So the cutting edge is upwards.
Excellent. And one more question. Tim C says, when you're doing the waste technique, what did you use for the extra shim?
Just our white multi-purpose cardstock.
Perfect.
So just an A4 sheet folded in half. Doesn't have to be white multi-purpose, but as long as it's round about 300 GSM each, because that is then, for me, that's the kind of like the perfect thickness for, of course, creating that bulk and that pressure.
So if you had 180 to 200, you'd want 3 layers to still get to your 600. So
absolutely.
You've created about a 600 GSM shim. There you go. That's all right. Absolutely perfect. I think we've caught those up. What else could you show us, or are we catching up with all that you hope to show us?
So let's do what we'll do. Actually, tell you what, we'll just do some strips. If you've got some strips,
yes, that'd be good.
If you've got some leftover strips and you're wanting to use them, let's bring out selection of just foils that I've got. And then essentially what this is also then going to do is this is going to show you pretty much the waste technique again. I'm just going to lever them down.
Will foil adhere to foil? You know, when you're doing your strips?
No. So when you lay them over each other, they're only going to foil up to where they join. They're not going to foil over each other.
So they'll only foil onto the other...
the surface.
The surface, not onto each other?
Not onto each other, no.
Is that your box of foil?
Yeah, it's all mine.
It's impressive.
It's all mine there. That is only, that's only one.
Oh, have you got another one?
I've got about, so this, so if I bring, so this has got, this box here, it's just got like card and different mediums and that, but I've got about 2 of these full of foils.
Wow.
Yep. So I could sell them on the black market. Joking. I'm not selling my foils, by the way. Just letting you know. I bought them. I ain't selling them. But yeah, I've got quite a few of them, just all stacked up. Now, I'm going to go in just with a variety of different colours here, Corrine, nothing specific. Some colours may not necessarily go, but it's just to show you again how they work.
Once it's adhered to your cardstock or your medium of choice, you could then die cut that out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Just like with a normal nesting die or something like that would look impressive.
Yeah, you're making your own foil background.
Yeah.
You're making your own foiled background. So what we can then do is if we bring this in, so again, this is going to be the waste technique. So let's reset and we're going to go up to 1 minute 10. So we're just going to make sure we are shiny side facing down. So I'm going to cross over, but as we were saying, Corrine, it's not going to foil onto foil. It's only going to foil up. So essentially, so there is my first layer of foil. So that's going to foil up to there. And then the turquoise is going to take over from where that rose gold ends. Let's go in with a little bit of silver. Let's go in with...
So if you've got a scraggy end and a tidy edge, you would always put the scraggy end sort of on the overlap so that you get a nice tidy stretch, if that's what you wanted.
If that's what you want, yeah. If you're wanting a rough scraggy end, then of course you don't need to worry. You can then just come along and just foil anyway. So we're going to go in, let's go in with our cardstock. So we've got a card that we're going to foil onto. We're going to bring in I don't know what I've done with my shim, so let's just get another sheet here. We're going to go in with our 2 sheets 300 GSM each, so that's given me 600 GSM. We're going to then go in with our magnetic shim, and then we're going to go in with our carbon plate here, build in the layers, all the layers up
As you
together.
said, this is the only time, Craig, isn't it, that you build up before you turn that heat going?
Yes, so the waste technique. So whether that is, of course, waste as in, because this is classed as the waste technique, the actual waste is, of course, classed as the waste technique, or if you, if you are foiling a die cut piece, that is also then, of course, classed as the waste technique because you're layering all these layers together. So you could have, you know, an afternoon or a couple of hours where you've collected strips that you don't know how you're going to use, but you don't want to bin them because they cost money. So they'll have them in a little wallet, a little packet, a little box or something, and then spend an afternoon, a couple of hours or something, and just create your background. You know, you could do checker effects, you could do lines if you want to, of course, and then you can just think about what you're going to cut. Maybe you're going to foil your backgrounds, and then maybe you'll leave them all to the side until you then cut them another day. Because you don't have to cut them all the time if you don't want to. It's entirely up to yourself. But then as this then does that countdown, coming to the end here, where it's then going to beep, we're then just going to slide that one out, and then we're just going to then feed that through to the Gemini. If you are using the Junior, then it just goes straight into the Junior as if you're putting your Junior plates in. Nothing different. The only thing you need to take care of is, of course, what we touched upon earlier on, is if you're using your OG A4 Gemini with the extender plate. So we can then take all of these out the way. So then what we're going to be left with is if we take these ones off, take these off, take these off, take these off, take these off, and take these off.
So that was the backing off?
That was the backing that I've just taken off there. And the only excess that I've got is where I've crossed over.
Overlapped.
So where I've crossed over, let's neaten this up. I think it always looks better when I neaten up a technique, just to give you that indication as to how it's going to look. And then you can then come along.
Yeah, it does. It does look so much better once you've tied it up. But that could be a die cut, that could be any shape. Couldn't one of your nesting dies, anything like that.
Is that going to fit? So that middle one. Let's just do that middle one. I know it's going to cut in, but again, it's just going to give you the idea. So let's take our, let's do, there's more chance you're going to be using it with a nesting die or something. So let's bring in one of these. Let's bring in our plates. So then you can then come along and you can cut this as you would do. Just treat it as though it's
regular
a bought, a normal cardstock, a bought piece of foil cardstock. So we can then go in with our top plate. We're going to go in with a frosted magnetic additional top cutting plate. We're then going to run that one through. So then these can be mats and layers, they can be your nested layers, these could be your inner layers, these could be your framework if you wanted it to be. So then if we take that one out, we've then got our die cut circle. And of course, if you want them to be straight, then you'll of course have your straight lines. I was just doing it to serve a purpose. But you've got all these, and then again, you could be using them as apertures. So your waste is never waste. Whether it is left over from your foil, whether it's strips or anything like that, you can always use your waste.
I love that. Absolutely gorgeous. Couple of questions, comments. Marlene says, Craig, try lifting those little bits with your tacky tape. You know, I think she means, you know, when you're scrapping a few bits off.
Yeah, you could do.
You could do.
Just don't press too hard because you don't want any of the fibres to lift off. But yeah.
So I'm jumping ahead with comments. Sorry. Debbie McKee says, is there any way to use the foil press in the Pro, which I think was really apt after you were just talking about the different two?
No. He's
going, no.
No, you can only use the foil press. You can only use the foil press with the Junior or your A4 Gemini. So only two that you can use the foil press with.
There isn't an extender plate suitable for the Pro.
No,
there we go. Right, now, I'll read this out one for you. So this is Karen. Craig, can you use any type of tape runners or glue other than red liner to put the foil on top of? I saw one show where you use red liner and foil to use as a mat around cardstock. I think we're muddling up a couple of things. I've read this a couple of ways. I read that, so if you put red liner tape onto a piece of white card and stick on this foil and then peel it off, it won't work because it's not, because this is heat activated foil, isn't it? Oh, well, it will work.
It will work, yeah.
Oh, I stand corrected.
Yeah, so if we do that.
I'll let Craig show you.
So if we just go in with our foil, because yes, it's heat foil, but it is a medium that, of course, the foil separates from the backing. So yes, you want it to, of course, foil with your dies. Your dies need to be heat, but it's also to do with pressure as well. So it will work with just the pressure. So if I take that little strip that we've got here, and then you press that down, what you're then going to be left with is a strip
perfect.
That you've got there. So yeah, if you just want to use it as strips, as layers, as panels, mats and layers, then yes, you can.
So you use red liner. Tape runner would work?
It would do, yeah.
But I wouldn't use a wet glue.
I wouldn't, no, don't use a wet glue. Don't use a wet glue. That's not going to work. I would definitely say your red liner tape.
Perfect. And our Becky's watching. Hello, Becky Swan. Hello, Becky Swan.
Becky.
She wants to go to Craig's house to play with his box of foils.
Foils anytime.
We are left speechless, Becky.
Yeah.
We are left speechless. No, don't know how to answer that one. There we go. Craig is very protective of his foils. That's all I'm going to say. And he wasn't going to sell them or exchange them or part with them.
I can be bribed. I can be bribed.
You can be bribed. Oof. Well, mind boggles. Right, we've caught up with all of your questions again. Have we got any more pictures to show? We haven't got any more because we haven't got them set up, but they are coming in thick and fast. And we're going to show them, well, not show them all, but we're going to pick a winner in the next show towards the end of that. We're going to get our Tracy to pick one. I don't know how they're going to get our Tracy to pick one, but I'm not worried about that. Right. She's going to sit her down in front of all the pictures so that she can pick one. That's fair. That seems to be the fair way. Every single picture that our Nicola has received is in a folder. 168 so far. There you go. There we go. I find that's a guess, but yeah, it's about that. So there we go. Right, we've got very, very quick technique.
Well, I just thought, we'll just do a little recap as to
that would be lovely, thank you.
Let's do a little bit of a recap here. So I showed you, one of the questions I get asked time and time again is when it comes to the alphabets that have the floral stamps to go with them. Now, we still have a selection of them on the website that you can check out, but these ones have got the specific letter, or there is a couple of numbers, but they do it first. Once foiled, they look as though they're missing a little bit, and that's because the stamp overlays and it just curves and twirls all the way around. So I showed you the best way for you to then, of course, foil and then stamp that on, and then you can then come along with your nesting dies if you want to, and then cut them out. Of course, you can do it 3-letter if you want to, or a name depending on the size. So we covered that one. Then what we've done is we covered our foiling cut one. Now again, these ones here are some of them on the website for you to check out. And then we've done them in the traditional way, so we foiled onto the black cardstock. But then what I'd done was I then showed you how you can then do the waste technique. Again, at this point, either neaten up the edges with the paper trimmer, guillotine, or nesting die, something like that. But that's then the positive, and then that's the negative. But then what we've done is we ran it through our Gemini with just the embossing mat. So we're pretending we had then cut it, and then we've ran it through with the embossing mat. As you can see with the pressure, it's perfectly cut it, but it's given us all of that debossed detail that I came along with the gilding wax. So that's now a fourth way that you can use your foil and cut dies. But then what we've also done to answer a question is we ran the die through our Gemini, just our normal die cut and plate configuration. 2 cut-and plates, frosted magnetic shim. That cut it out, but because of the pressure of the G2, gives you even more pressure, so that, therefore, and I do want to correct myself, as obviously when I say more pressure, I don't mean more pressure as in the original one, but you know, it's just trial and error. You know, some Geminis over more use than others will sometimes give that little bit more pressure. But with the G2, what we have got is we've got the incredible deboss already done for you because of the pressure, and we've just gone and inked all the way around. So that's just 4 ways that you can be using dies that are our deep grey, which are the foil and cut. Then I came along and I showed you how you can then use your normal dies. So all of your normal dies, your nesting dies, all of these dies you're going to be able to use on the foil press. Again, not just ours, any brands, as long as they last or they fit on the foil press. Showed you how you could take a die cut frame. This is from Venetian Grace. Die cut it and play your crafts right. Then I showed you how you can foil all your die cuts. That was the waste that came off the background, and then we inked and showed you, of course, because the foil is a non-porous surface, what we've got is that resist effect. So we inked over the top, and then I also came along and then I just showed you, for instance, a Sheena stamp or any stamp that you've got an outline die to work with the stamp, foil the die, and then come along and stamp into the middle. So you get the delicate outline of the foil outline, and then you can stamp in the middle as well, and you can then come and colour all that you want to, but then these are all the main ones that we just showed you within the last couple of hours.
That is so amazing. It has been a really, really informative show. I've really loved it. Thank you so much, Craig. I hope you have enjoyed it too. Lillian says, Craig, how much foil for a packet of white chocolate digestives?
Oh, now
she knows how to, the right medium.
There's an offer. Throw in a 8-pack of Coca-Cola and we're done.
There we go. He's easily bought. Easily bought. Right, we're going to disappear now. You can still send in your pictures between shows to studio@crafterscompanion.com. I think that was the right address. Yeah, I'm sure that was the right address. Yeah, with I think so in my ear. Oh, .co.uk, sorry, there we go. And we will add them to the stash for later on this evening. But we will both be back at 6 p.m. That's 1 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. Pacific time, for a masterclass all about Venetian Grace. I am loving some of the demos that I have seen. I'm loving all the demos that I have seen, which is only some of them, that Craig is going to be doing later. Yeah, I like that one, but I don't like that one. No, what I meant was, of the demos that I've seen, I am loving them because he's put a completely different take on them. They're very clean and simple, which is Craig's technique, style, which I'm getting quite used to. Really beautiful, some really good techniques. And if you did like that, where the grey pen round sentiments and things, I know he's going to be doing that again. I know somebody was asking us about that earlier. So please tune back in, like I say, 6 p.m, 1 p.m, or 10 a.m, depending on where you are in the USA. And we will be back with a masterclass. It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to have demo of the show, demo of the day, and we're going to pick your card as well to win a £10 voucher that you can then use next week when it's birthday. Have we mentioned it's birthday next week? I bet you didn't know, did you? It's going to be an amazing week. So please tune in later and get ready for next week as well. See you soon. Bye.
Toodles.